wonderful. Why do you think Money Button and actually PayMail are two wonderful pieces of technology for the country of Colombia?
Yeah, well, look, I mean, fundamentally what we're trying to do with Money Button is improve the user experience of Bitcoin. We're trying to make it so that normal people and real businesses can actually start using this stuff for real right now. So we have a number of applications using Money Button today. We have, people tell us all the time how wonderful the user experience is with Money Button. PayMail is just an extension of everything that we're doing to make it easier to basically make Bitcoin wallets interoperable with each other and to make Bitcoin wallets interoperable with exchanges in a user-friendly way. So we're just trying to make everything as easy as possible so that normal people can start getting the benefits of Bitcoin.
Excellent. And Ryan, we know that you've got a team in Argentina, and South America is a big target for technology such as BSV. Can you tell us why continents like this can really benefit from what BSV has to offer?
Yeah, so there are many reasons. So in Latin America in particular, there has been a long history of many different military dictatorships as well as currency crises. So there's actually a lot of different ways that Bitcoin can help these types of situations. You know, first of all, have a currency that you can hold on to that's actually outside of the government currency, which matters a lot in places like Venezuela right now, which has something absurd like 1,000,000% inflation. It's completely unbearable for the people living there. And so people there use Bitcoin as a way to basically hedge out of their local currency. So Venezuela is an extreme example, but actually having high inflation is a common theme throughout Latin America. So it's useful for that reason, but that's not the only reason. This history of military dictatorships and government corruption still impacts Latin America today. So there's a lot of government corruption and things like that. One of the goals with Bitcoin is ultimately to enable transparency in government, to enable things like when people pay taxes, that they know that the money's being spent the way that they expect, so that they can tell if somebody in government abuses their privilege and spends the money on all the wrong stuff, that you'll be able to see stuff like that. Meanwhile, we actually help governments. So we're not here to threaten them. We're not here to tell you that, no, we're going to ruin you. We're here to actually help them collect taxes, which sounds terrifying to people, but that's how you do it. We're going to help them do it correctly. We're going to help governments collect taxes, but then also be held accountable that they spend that money correctly. So those are just two of the ways, plus all of the usual ways, things like low transaction fees and things like that. So it's extremely useful in Latin America, and Colombia is a great example of that.
Wonderful, Ryan. Thank you so much for that. And everybody around the world is talking about Facebook and Libra, the launch of their crypto coin. Can you tell me your thoughts on this and how you think it'll impact the crypto and blockchain world in general?
Yeah, so I have a lot of thoughts on Libra. So first of all, it's encouraging to see sort of large mainstream businesses take these ideas seriously. But there are a number of problems with Libra that basically indicate that Facebook hasn't quite thoroughly understood the big picture vision here. So there are a few problems with Libra. So first of all, it's actually not as scalable as the original Bitcoin. That sounds surprising, like how could it be 10 years later and somehow design something less scalable? That's because they never really thoroughly understood Bitcoin to begin with. They said in their papers that they can go to 1,000 transactions per second. With Bitcoin, there's basically no upper limit. A key difference is Libra is not designed fundamentally as an economic system. It's designed as a solution to a computer science problem. This is completely the wrong way to look at it. If you look at it as an economic system, you can build businesses that solve infrastructure problems inside Bitcoin. And we can go in Bitcoin ultimately to millions of transactions per second in a realistic time scale, and really ultimately there's no upper limit. So in terms of transactions per second, we can go radically higher, but it's actually not just that. You really want to solve a bunch of problems simultaneously. This isn't just about having digital currency that you can send peer-to-peer. It's about solving a bunch of other problems related to things like identity and contracts, all together in one. We want to be able to do things like put data on chain, sign it with your legal identity, and then share that information in an encrypted way with relevant parties, and then have legal contracts that allow funds to be distributed automatically. That's something Bitcoin can do that they don't seem to have thought about all that stuff. They just made a stable coin. So it has a bunch of issues like that. So it's good to see that they're sort of open to this type of technology. But we're actually significantly ahead of them, I think, and I think they'll come around, and I think it's a matter of time. But we'll see, and we can help them if they reach out to us.
Well, fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing your perspective. As always, Ryan, keep up the amazing work.
Thank you very much.
This is Becky Liggero with Ryan X. Charles. Thank you for watching CoinGeek.com.